I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey, what's up the homies? Leighton here for UFC Gambling Addicts, back again for another UFC full card breakdown and predictions video. This one's going to be Stephen Thompson versus Jeff Neal, and this is the last card of the year, right? A lot of difficult predictions to make on this card, but there's no doubt in my mind, this card is going to be fire. As always, before we get into the predictions, please make sure you smash that Hamzat button. If you don't know what the Hamzat button is, you've got to get to know, right? It's the like button. So make sure you smash that Hamzat for me. Alright my homies, let's get into it. First fight on this card, we have Rick Glenn taking on Carlton Minus. And we're going to start with Rick. So Rick comes into this fight, 3 wins, 3 losses inside the UFC. It's been a while since we've seen Rick Glenn fight. He's stepping up to 155 from 145. I honestly forgot this dude even existed. It's been that long. In watching tape, I was reminded how scrappy this dude really is. Good boxing pressure, a fairly well-rounded skill set. But something that I noticed is Rick Glenn doesn't really move his head off the centre line, which does make him prone to eating big counter punches. It kinda goes with his scrappy style though. The opponent, Carlton Minus, comes into this fight 0 wins, 1 loss inside the UFC. Primarily a wrestler. Debuted this year against Matt Semmelsberger in a fight where he wasn't really able to use his wrestling. It was mainly a kickboxing fight where Carlton wasn't really that effective. So Carlton Minus is stepping down from 170. Glenn is stepping up from 145. Glenn has the experience advantage. I expect his kickboxing to be better in this fight. Carlton Minus is going to be the bigger fighter, so I'd expect his grappling to be more successful. Honestly guys, in my opinion, this is a 50-50 who the hell knows type of matchup. Gamble with caution on this one. I'm going to side with the more experienced fighter. I just believe the kickboxing could be the story, and Rick Glenn has a lot of kickboxing experience. But like I said man, stepping up from 145, had some time off, that is concerning. I think there's a lot of what ifs in this matchup, so yeah, a difficult one to start the card, but the pick is going to be Rick Glenn via decision. My numbers would be Rick minus 120, minus plus 110. And I haven't seen any odds on this card yet, so I'm interested to see. Oh my god, man. Rick Glenn minus 300. Carlton Minus plus 260, plus 300. That's insane. That is insane. Those numbers suggest that Rick Glenn's going to go in there. It's going to be a walk in the park, right? Stepping up to 55, it's going to be a walk in the park. I don't think so. I mean, Carlton Minus will have to grapple. I do believe he will have to use his wrestling. He couldn't use his wrestling too much at all in his UFC debut, but I think this time maybe he can. But Rick Glenn, like I said, he does have a good skill set. And I've seen a few times from watching the tape, when you try to take Rick Glenn down, he is good at sprawling. He is good at ending up on top. So maybe he can do that here, but minus 300? No, I don't think so. I have it minus 120 plus 110. The Vegas line is insane. Fight number 2. We've already broke this fight down, so we're not going to spend too much time speaking about it. We have 2 grapplers coming up against each other in this matchup. Jimmy Flick is way more jiu-jitsu orientated. Cody Durden is way more wrestling orientated. If this fight hits the mat, which I expect it will, I believe Jimmy Flick will end up using his jiu-jitsu in an effective manner, whether it's round 1 or round 2, or even the last round, the way Chase Hooper did recently. I prefer to side with the jiu-jitsu practitioner over the wrestler, so purely for those reasons, I'm going to take Jimmy Flick via submission. It really could be a case of Cody Durden is able to out-wrestle Jimmy Flick round 1, round 2, and then out of nowhere, 120 seconds left on the clock, Jimmy Flick is able to find that submission. It really could be that case. We saw Chase Hooper was getting out-wrestled, beaten on the feet, and then he gets it done. At some point, Jimmy Flick is going to get it done. That's my belief. My line would be Jimmy Flick minus 140, Cody Durden plus 110. And the actual line we have Jimmy coming in minus 140, minus 150. Cody Durden returning plus 130, plus 125. So, yeah, that line is way better than the first fight. I can't disagree, you know. Two grapplers coming up against each other. Jiu-jitsu taking on wrestling. What do you prefer? I think the wrestler could do very well in this matchup, but how long can he keep wrestling and wrestling until Jimmy Flick is able to use that position effectively and find the finish? I think at some point it will come. Could be wrong, because Cody Durden showed us in his UFC debut he's a strong wrestler, but Jimmy Flick, he's pretty sneaky, so that's going to be the pick this time. Tafon Nchukwi taking on Jamie Pickett, and we're going to start with Tafon. So Tafon comes into this fight 4-0 inside the UFC. Nope, that's a lie. Tafon comes into this fight 4-0 as a pro, making his UFC debut. Had a nasty Contender Series win. Beautiful head kick finish. He set that head kick up in a way where the opponent had no clue it was coming. No clue until he woke up. Tafon is a very powerful dude in close proximity. He's very damaging. Only 4 pro fights to date. He's yet to experience any real adversity. Despite being impressed by what this man is doing, let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? He's only 4 fights as a pro. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Impressed, but let's calm down a little bit. The opponent, Jamie Pickett, comes into this fight 11 wins, 4 losses as a pro, making his UFC debut. Jamie has fought on the Contender Series a couple of times now. No, 3 times now. His most recent Contender Series win was an impressive round 2 finish, a barrage of punches that was able to set the opponent down. Now getting the opportunity to make his UFC debut. I think it would be wise for Jamie Pickett to potentially, look to fatigue Tafon with some grappling up against the fence. Look to blow the arms up with blood. Because if he doesn't, if he looks to simply trade punches, he's giving Tafon what he wants. Like I said earlier with Tafon, let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's very early in his career. But if I'm being honest with you guys, Jamie Pickett is probably a really good debut for him. He most likely is able to land some nasty punches that either fatigue Jamie or even set Jamie down. I don't think this fight is really clear. And by that I mean, Tafon is going to win this fight 100%. I don't think it's one of those. But I am going to side with Tafon. He's been dangerous in his pro career to date. And I think, Jamie Pickett is a pretty good UFC debut. So for those reasons, I am going to take Tafon via TKO in round number 1. I say let's not get ahead of ourselves, but I take a round 1 finish. There we go. My numbers would be Tafon minus 150, Jamie plus 120. And the actual numbers we have Tafon minus 300. That's getting up there. That is getting up there. But if you said to me who should be closer to minus 300, Tafon or Rick Glenn, I would definitely say Tafon. Jamie Pickett returning plus 250. Now, how does Jamie Pickett win this fight? I think he has to look to fatigue Tafon, grapple a lot, just make Tafon uncomfortable. But like I said, Tafon is a pretty dangerous guy in close proximity. So if Jamie does look to fight up against the fence, I think Tafon could just sleep him, you know? So yeah, the pick is going to be Tafon. Draco Rodriguez taking on Ayman Zahabi, and we're going to start with Rodriguez. So Rodriguez comes into this fight 7 wins, 1 loss as a pro, making his UFC debut. Got a UFC contract on the Contender Series, a beautiful triangle finish to get the fight done. Rodriguez is young in his career, but I like the composure of this fighter. Even when he had that triangle set in place, you know, the opponent was making it difficult, wasn't giving up, but Rodriguez kept squeezing. He captured the leg with the arm as well, which is pure technique, especially when you're in that triangle position. This fighter does look promising. The opponent, Ayman Zahabi, comes into this fight 1 win, 2 losses inside the UFC. Zahabi hasn't fought in a while, and even when he did last fight, which was against Vince Morales, he was coming off another long layoff. For me, there's red flags there. Is his heart really in the sport? For those of you who may remember the way Ricardo Ramos put Zahabi out, honestly, one of the best knockouts we've ever seen. If you haven't seen that spinning back elbow, oh man, you've got to go watch it. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. I don't think we can exactly be super confident in either side. Rodriguez, like I said, he is fresh in his career, still learning the ropes. Zahabi, very inactive, most likely sharpening his skill set in the gym. I definitely won't be betting on this fight. Gun to my head though, I lay my money on Rodriguez. He seems to be the hungrier fighter, and hunger is a big thing in the game of fighting. So purely for those reasons, I'm going to take Rodriguez via decision. My numbers would be Rodriguez minus 150, Zahabi plus 120. In the actual numbers, we have Rodriguez minus 190, minus 180, Zahabi plus 160, plus 170. Yeah, you can't really argue too much with those numbers. Rodriguez, very impressive on the Contender Series. When he had that triangle, it looked like it was kind of getting away from him. But then he captured the leg. Nothing but composure from Rodriguez. And only being a few fights in, to show that level of composure, you have to take note of that. Zahabi, on the flip side, inactive. No one really likes to see a fighter that's inactive. It doesn't really come across as, you know, I'm here to be champion. And that's what we're looking for here, guys. We're looking for fighters that want to fight, that want to be champion, that want to climb the ladder. I'm seeing more of that from Rodriguez than from Zahabi. So purely for those reasons, that's going to be the pick. Moving into the next one, we have Durden Winn taking on Antonio Arroyo. And we're going to start with Durden. So Durden comes into this fight 1 win, 2 losses inside the UFC. Primarily a wrestler. Durden isn't the biggest guy at middleweight, but this fight is at 195. He's an extra 10 pounds heavier at 5'6". The extra weight should help him keep Arroyo on the mat, but the negative is, come round 2, Durden will most likely be fatigued. Should Durden Winn look to kickbox with Arroyo? Probably not. The opponent, Antonio Arroyo, comes into this fight 0 wins, 1 loss inside the UFC. Seems to be primarily a striker. In his UFC debut, he showed clear signs of fatigue in a grappling contest, became exhausted in that UFC debut. I do hope that he can show some improvements in his conditioning, especially coming up against a wrestler who will most likely look to put Arroyo in the same type of fight that he had in his UFC debut. Grappler versus striker. I'm going to be siding with the striker in this fight, and I'll tell you why, guys. I think if Winn is able to keep getting those takedowns, it's a question of what can he do with those takedowns? Is he going to use some jiu-jitsu to finish the fight? Probably not. So ultimately, those takedowns could just be lay and pray. I think the striking of Arroyo is going to be more effective, more damaging, potentially score more on the scorecards. I think he could also put Durden to sleep. So yeah, the pick is going to be Antonio Arroyo via TKO in round number 2. And like I said, I do hope there's some improvements in the gas tank. I hope he's able to get back to the feet if he is taken down. But you know, it's a case of Winn probably does get a takedown or two. But come round 2, come round 3, can Arroyo keep it on the feet? I think he can. And I think if he does, the striking is going to be more effective than those takedowns. My odds would be Arroyo minus 170, Winn plus 140. And the actual numbers we have Arroyo minus 150, Durden plus 130. So those numbers are basically where I see them, you know. Arroyo, rightfully the favourite. Winn, rightfully the underdog. It really is striker versus grappler. Who's going to implement their game plan better? If Winn can get those takedowns, I want to see him do something with those takedowns, you know. Ground and pound. Look to find a finish with some jiu-jitsu. But so far, we haven't really seen that from Winn. You know, if you look at the fight against Darren Stewart, he got those takedowns, but what are you doing with those takedowns? Nothing much. Is it going to be the same type of situation that Winn finds himself in? I think so. So for me, I'm going to take the Brazilian. Moving into the next one, my homies, we have Roberson taking on Dalcha. Another fight that we've already broken down. We're not going to spend too long speaking about this one. Roberson is a very, very good kickboxer. Arguably better technique than Dalcha. Arguably better conditioning too. Dalcha is a beast of a man who's going to look to use explosive movements. Look to send Roberson into a new realm. Maybe even choose to grapple in that first round. We sided with Roberson a couple weeks ago. We're going to stay on that same side. If Dalcha isn't able to get the fight done, round 1, I think he ends up getting pieced up by Roberson. A bunch of kicks should be adding up for Roberson as the fight ticks on. Maybe even a TKO stoppage for Roberson later on. So we're going to side with the same pick, the original pick, and that's Carl Roberson. My numbers, I don't remember the number that I gave originally, but I would put Roberson in that minus 170 to minus 200 range. And the actual numbers, we have Roberson minus 250, minus 260, Dalcha returning plus 200. So a lot of money going on that Roberson line. It's really fair, you know, it is fair. If Dalcha can't get it done in that first round, you really would expect Roberson to go on and win this fight. The first round is going to be the struggle. Can Roberson weather the storm? In my opinion, yes. If you're going to bet on Dalcha, probably take a TKO prop, because he isn't going to get this fight done via submission. And if he does, oh my god, I would be amazed. If he gets it done via decision, again, I would be pretty amazed. I think round 1 or bust for Dalcha. Outside of round 1, I think the kickboxing experience is really going to show for Roberson. So for those reasons, the pick is going to be the same pick as before, and that's Roberson. Pannie Kianzad taking on Sarj Eubanks, and we're going to start with Pannie. So Pannie comes into this fight 2 wins, 1 loss inside the UFC. A boxer and wrestler. Pannie is really starting to show her ability recently. Julia Avila basically took Pannie's soul in that UFC debut, but since then, Pannie has bounced back with 2 really clean performances. Her boxing has looked very sharp in both of these matchups. She's now getting a step up in competition against Sarj Eubanks, and rightfully so too. The opponent, Sarj Eubanks, comes into this fight 4 wins, 3 losses inside the UFC. A boxer, a wrestler, a BJJ practitioner. It has to be said, Sarj Eubanks is a well-rounded fighter, only improving too. She suffered with some conditioning issues early in her UFC career. You can definitely see that issue has been worked on. She's coming off a loss to Vera in a fight where she couldn't seem to get into boxing distance. Ketlin was just too big. Sarj was never really in that fight. I really like this matchup. It's a super difficult one to predict. I appreciate both of these fighters. The boxing ability of both of these fighters, really sharp, really effective. I think Sarj Eubanks is maybe the better wrestler, the better jiu-jitsu fighter, but I think Pannie has a better fight IQ, arguably more to offer as the fight goes on. Man, really difficult prediction to make, but I'm gonna side with Pannie Kianzad. I've just got a feeling that she's gonna be a little bit more effective as this fight ticks into the later rounds. So purely for those reasons, I'm gonna take Pannie via decision. My numbers have to be really close because I think this one it's a really difficult one to think about prior, and I think it's probably going to be close. I'd put Pannie -120, Sarj -110. And that's just the appreciation that I have for both of these fighters. And the actual numbers we have: Sarj Eubanks -160, Pannie Kianzad +140. So that is going to be the first underdog on this card, Pannie Kianzad. I would have to disagree with those numbers. I think Pannie should be getting a little bit more respect. There should be a little bit more money going on that line. But you know, the way we broke down Sarj Eubanks was accurate. You know, she's a good boxer, a good wrestler, a good jiu-jitsu fighter, really a well-rounded fighter. So yeah, maybe she should be the favourite, but at -160, you know, Pannie Kianzad is good too. She's got good boxing, good wrestling herself. And like I said, we're really starting to see her ability now. The UFC debut didn't go too good. Julia Avila is a nasty fighter, so yeah, it didn't go too well. But since then, Pannie Kianzad has been showing us, hey, I'm here to compete. And I think this matchup is going to be very close. It's going to be a war from both of these ladies. The reason why I'm siding with Pannie, I think as the fight goes on, she's just going to offer that little bit more. Could I be wrong? I could, because Sarj Eubanks, very tough fighter, a really skillful fighter. But yeah, I'm going to side with the European on this one. Alright homies, last fight before the smoke break. We have Anthony Pettis taking on Alex Morono. And we're going to start with Anthony. So Anthony comes into this fight with a veteran record. This dude has been at the highest level for some time now. He's fought the who's who, the best fighters in the world. Is he out of his prime? Yes, he is. Is he still a dangerous fighter? You've only got to go watch the Ninja KO against Wonderboy to find evidence of that. He does seem to quit when the going gets tough. But man, who wouldn't after years and years of wars? We can't take away from him though. Like I said, he's still a dangerous dude. I do believe he lost that fight to Donald Cerrone. Not sure how many of you guys feel the same way, but my scorecard was different in that matchup. The opponent, Alex Morono, comes into this fight 7 wins, 4 losses inside the UFC. Alex is coming off a win against Rhys McKee just a few weeks ago. In all fairness, really impressive performance. The boxing ability Alex displayed, nothing short of beautiful. Rhys McKee, way too tough for his own good. No quitting that dude. Alex was able to dominate the stand-up, even get takedowns when he wanted to. This is a really good step up in competition for Alex Morono. Can he display the same type of boxing against a better fighter? I'm not going to say no, but I will say it's probably going to be quite a bit more difficult this time round. Anthony Pettis has a lot of experience at the highest level, arguably taking a step down in competition from Donald Cerrone. The pick has to be Anthony Pettis, guys. It has to be. Despite taking Alex Morono against Rhys McKee just a few weeks ago, despite being very impressed, I think this time round it's a different ball game. So for those reasons, I'm going to take Anthony Pettis via decision. And if Alex Morono can get it done, Anthony Pettis, man, he may end up in Bellator. My odds would be Anthony Pettis minus 160, Morono plus 130. And the actual numbers we have, Anthony Pettis coming in minus 240, which is, wow, okay. Alex Morono returning plus 190. I'd have to disagree, guys. I really would. I mean, the pick is going to be Pettis, but to put him over 2-1, you know, Alex Morono, he's getting better. The fight against Rhys McKee, it was impressive. Will it be more difficult to perform in that way this time? Yeah, it's going to be more difficult, but Anthony Pettis is out of his prime. He does quit. Yeah, those odds, man. I was looking to bet on Pettis too, but now I'm looking at it, I'm probably going to stay away. Alright, the homies, you know what time it is. If you waited to smoke with me, amen. If you've been smoking this whole time, double amen. If you're not a smoker, but you enjoy the smoke breaks, triple amen. Amen, my whole gang. Alright, homies, so let's take a look at this bet real quick. The point deduction lost me this bet. I ain't gonna lie, it took a good shot at my soul. But hey, I'm unbreakable, guys. My soul is still here. A couple people in the comment section recently said to me, hey man, where's your betting slips? Do you even gamble anymore? Of course, guys, of course. The reason I haven't posted my slips recently is because I've hit so many 2-digit slips on this account, on this channel. I'm starting to think forwards, right? I want to start posting 3-digit stakes, 4-digit stakes. That's going to be my goal for 2021. And I know, without a doubt, I will be hitting my goals in 2021. And that, my homies, takes us right into the motivation for this smoke break. And I hope all of you are doing blessed, right? I hope you're all having a blessed day. So 2021, right? We are all going to hit our goals in 2021. If you haven't got any goals set for 2021, please think about it, man. We should all be self-improving. We should all have goals. There's always the next challenge. The challenges don't stop. They do not stop, guys. In my opinion, if you don't have any challenges, if you don't have any goals, you're wasting your life. It sounds pretty harsh, but I'm here to give you tough love, guys. I'm going to keep it real all the time. If you haven't got a goal set, please think about it. And that moves us into the next bit of motivation. I want you guys to have the king-like mindset that I have. See, I had a great conversation with one of the homies recently on Instagram. Shout out to Riz. Me and Riz were basically chopping it up about mindset and how your mindset is the most important thing. See, you have to have this type of mindset, guys. As vain as it sounds, as cocky as it sounds, every morning I look at myself in the mirror and I say it. I say, Lay, you are the man. You are the goddamn man. If you aren't giving yourself this king-like energy, guys, please start doing this. And listen, I don't care if you don't believe it. Say it today, say it tomorrow. Keep saying it to yourself every time you look yourself in the mirror. And trust me, 12 weeks down the line, you're gonna genuinely believe it. I don't care if you have $200 in your bank account. I don't care if you're out of shape. I don't care if you are down and out right now. You say to yourself in the mirror every morning, I am the man. Because you're going to change your money. You're going to change your physique. You're going to chase your purpose, right? You're going to become the man. So start right now, okay? Tomorrow morning, you look yourself in the mirror and you say it. I'm the man. Believe me, give yourself this energy. It will change you. It will make you a better person. It will put real confidence in yourself. Ain't nothing worse than fake confidence, guys. Believe me, I have been there. And that's why I try to give my wisdom every week. You should look at yourself as the man, because you are the man. Let me ask you this. Who else is going to give you this energy? Who else is going to put this king-like energy into you? I'll wait for the answer. Exactly. No one. Only you can do it. So tomorrow morning, bro, you look at yourself in the mirror and you tell yourself, I am the man. I don't see any other man here, so I must be the man. And even if there was another man here, I'm still the man. Give yourself that energy, fellas. You're a king. You deserve to carry yourself like a king. You deserve to know your worth. Know that you are the man. All right? So amen to that, fellas. And I'm going to be honest, right? I know a lot of people listen to this smoke break and you enjoy it. I know a lot of us share a similar mindset, but it doesn't stop, guys. I'm not going to stop giving this wisdom. I know there are still people listening to this who don't really see themselves as the man, right? I know we share a similar mindset, but you have to understand the difference between false confidence and real confidence, okay? You may be somewhat happy with yourself. You may be, doing fairly good in life, but ain't nobody going to give you this king energy other than yourself. So tomorrow morning, I want you to just do it. Just even if you don't believe it, please do it. Look yourself in the mirror and say it, bro. I am the man. Is it cocky? Probably. Is it vain? Probably. But who else is going to make you feel like that, bro? Let me ask you that. Who else is going to make you feel like that? No one else is going to do that for you, bro. So you have to do it for yourself. Okay? If you don't believe it tomorrow morning, that's okay. Do it. If you don't believe it on day 2, that's okay. Do it. And I'm telling you, you do it every single day. You're going to get 4 months from now and you're going to realize, wow, how long did I go without realizing that I'm the man? I'm telling you, homies, honestly, some of you may be laughing at the moment, right? You may be laughing like, this guy's crazy. I'm telling you, homies, it will change you. It will put real confidence into yourself. You may think, man, I'm already confident. I don't need that. Okay, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it and watch the confidence grow. I'm telling you, I'm the man and I'm telling you that you are the man too. So you start telling yourself that. Every morning you look into the mirror, you're the man, bro. Make yourself think you're the man. Become the man. We are all kings. All right, guys? So amen to that. I hope all of you homies have a beautiful, beautiful Christmas. There's going to be a little bit of a break after this card on this weekend. So if you want to catch me outside of YouTube, you can do that on Instagram. The Instagram should be in the description or somewhere around this video. So yeah, I hope all of you guys have had a great smoke break. Let's get into breaking down these fights. First fight on this main card, we have Marcin Tybura taking on Greg Hardy. And we're going to start with Marcin. So Marcin comes into this fight 7 wins, 5 losses inside the UFC. What can we say for Tybura? Tybura is a very good grappler, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. His kickboxing really isn't that bad either. There's been a few ups and downs in Tybura's UFC career so far. Can't really seem to put together a nice consistent run. He is coming off a performance against Ben Rothwell. Very nice performance. He spoke about being inspired by Jan Blachowicz before that fight. Is he still vibing with that same energy? It's going to be interesting to see. The opponent, Greg Hardy, comes into this fight 5 wins, 2 losses inside the UFC. Or 4 wins, 2 losses, 1 no contest if we're taking Inhalergate into account. Greg is a disliked man, but I ain't here to speak about this man's decisions outside of the octagon. I'm here to speak about this man's decisions inside of the octagon. Greg is a powerful puncher, very accurate with his boxing too. Takedown defense seems to be getting better, seems to be pretty good already. He's proven that a couple of times now against Juan Adams and against Maurice Green. Greg Hardy is only improving, it's clear to see. This is a brilliant fight to start the main card. Tybura should look to mix it up, kickbox and wrestle, fight up against the fence. Just look to make Greg Hardy uncomfortable. Greg Hardy will most likely have the speed advantage, the power advantage. Greg will most likely look to sleep Marcin Tybura. This fight can go either way, but something is telling me that Greg Hardy is just going to land a bomb at some point. So purely for those reasons, purely for those feelings, I'm going to take Greg Hardy via TKO in round number 1. And my numbers would be Greg minus 140, Tybura plus 110. If Tybura can take this fight into round 2, round 3, chances are he's going to fatigue Greg Hardy. We've seen Greg suffer with his cardio, but the question is, can Greg Hardy finish this fight before he starts to feel that fatigue? I'm going to say yes, but the answer could easily be no if Tybura fights with the right game plan. And I'm interested to see the actual numbers. It's good. It's correct. Greg Hardy minus 120, minus 125, Marcin Tybura plus 100. So yeah, round 1 is going to be interesting. I think that's going to be Greg's best chance. But like I said, he is improving fight by fight. So if his cardio looks better outside of round 1, I wouldn't be too surprised. Marcin Tybura has more experience. He should look to use that experience, use the right game plan. But for me, fellas, I'm going to take Greg in this one. Gillian Roberson taking on Taylor Santos. And we're going to start with the Savage. So Gillian comes into this fight 6 wins, 2 losses inside the UFC. Primarily a jiu-jitsu fighter. Gillian has always been one of my favourite fighters. She's young in the game, but you can see the improvement she's made over the duration of her career. She can now get the fight to the mat just that little bit easier than before. Her kickboxing has improved on the outside, but make no mistake, she will always be her most dangerous when she's able to take her opponent to her world, which is jiu-jitsu. The opponent, Santos, comes into this fight 1 win, 1 loss inside the UFC. Primarily a striker. Santos was able to keep Molly McCann at distance with a good amount of kicks, used her Muay Thai kicks beautifully in that fight. She was also able to stay on the feet in that fight. I believe Santos will have to implement the same sort of style in this fight, look to keep Gillian at distance, because if she doesn't, chances are she's getting grappled. I'm going to take Gillian in this fight, guys. Maybe she has some difficulties in the first round, trying to establish her range for shooting takedowns, but I think eventually she will be able to take Santos to the mat. From there, I'd expect the advantage on the mat to show. Heavy top control is what we saw against Courtney Casey, and I think it could be the same thing here. So for those reasons, I'm going to take Gillian via submission in round number 2. And my numbers would be Gillian -170, Santos +140. And the actual numbers are quite surprising. That is quite surprising. We have Gillian -110, Santos -110. Yeah, I gotta say I disagree, guys. Maybe I'm being a little bit biased towards Gillian. She is one of my favourite fighters, but I would expect her to have a little bit of an advantage when the fight hits the mat. I think her wrestling is a bit better. Her jiu-jitsu is a bit better. So yeah, -110. Maybe it's like that because if Gillian can't get this fight to the mat, she will most likely lose a kickboxing battle. But if she can get this fight to the mat, I don't see her being -110. Moving into the next one, we have Marlon Moroz taking on Rob Font. And we're going to start with the Brazilian, Marlon. So Marlon comes into this fight 5 wins, 3 losses inside the UFC. A Muay Thai practitioner, a very nasty kicker, a fighter that's really a household name in the bantamweight division. He's coming off a loss to Corey Sandhagen in a fight where he just couldn't keep up with the unorthodox ability of Corey Sandhagen. The first 2 minutes looked pretty okay for Marlon, but after that, he just faded. I believe he got his orbital broken in that fight too. Could be wrong, but yeah, I believe he got his orbital broken. The opponent, Rob Font, comes into this fight 7 wins, 3 losses inside the UFC. Primarily a boxer. Rob Font is a nasty, nasty guy, just like Marlon Moroz. Back-to-back wins over Sergio Pettis and Ricky Simone. Those aren't easy fights, guys. In all honesty, Rob Font kinda made it look easy. By no means a knockout artist, but if we're taking fundamentals into account, yeah, Rob Font is way up there with his boxing. I'll be honest, guys, this one really is a great fight. Muay Thai versus boxing. Rob Font is a pretty good wrestler too, so maybe he's the fighter who looks to mix it up with takedowns. Marlon will most likely have a good first round. He always seems to start strong with that Muay Thai style, but something is telling me that he will slow down and fade again. As this fight ticks on, I believe Rob Font's boxing will become the story, but man, you only have to look at Marlon Moroz's head kick finish against Rivera and Aljamain Sterling to see evidence that Marlon could end this fight in round 1. I took Marlon in both of those fights. To be honest, I don't think I've picked against Marlon Moroz once in the UFC, but this time I'm going to do it. I'm going to predict Rob Font to get a late finish in round number 3. And my odds, I'd put Rob Font -170, Marlon +140. And the actual numbers we have Rob Font +125. So that is going to be the second underdog on this card. Marlon Moroz coming back -140. So yeah, I've been way off on the odds for that fight and the last fight, but I'm happy with it. You know, Gillian Roberson -110, I'll take it. Rob Font +120, I'll take it. How does Marlon win this fight? Like I said, he most likely has a good first round. He's going to have to keep it up though. Rob Font is most likely going to go to the body. He's going to land some low kicks. He's going to use some boxing up top. Marlon Moroz cannot fade against Rob Font, because if he does, if Rob Font smells weakness, he's going to act like a shark, right? Smelling blood. He's going to use that boxing more and more as the fight ticks on. And I do think that's going to be the story. So that is going to be my second underdog pick on this card. Michel Pereira taking on Chaos Williams. And we're going to start with Michel. So Michel comes into this fight 2 wins, 2 losses inside the UFC. We know how to describe this man. Say it with me, fellas. This man is primarily a crazy man. Jumps off the cage, Anthony Pettis style. Extremely explosive and powerful. However, if we take a look at the fight with Salim, we do have to acknowledge that he was slightly more composed. More fundamentals, less craziness. Regardless, he's still a crazy dude. The opponent, Chaos Williams, comes into this fight 2-0 inside the UFC. Primarily a knockout artist. This dude seems to have the death touch. The 4-ounce glove touches your chin, you go to sleep. Al Hassan and Alex Morono are victims of this man's violence. There's nothing more to say other than that. He touches your chin, it seems like you just go to sleep. This fight is probably my favourite matchup on this card. Both of these dudes just seriously powerful. It's difficult to see this fight go in 15 minutes. Someone's going to sleep. Picking who that is, that's the difficult part. If we're being completely honest, either guy can go to sleep. If we're laying money on this fight, be nervous. Be very nervous. For me, personally, I can't go against Chaos Williams again, man. I just can't do it. He's got a death touch, so I've got to go with that. I'll take Chaos Williams via TKO in round number 1. My numbers, Chaos Williams -120, Michel Pereira -110. And the actual numbers, we have Chaos Williams as an underdog for the 3rd time. Maybe the safest bet on this fight would be fight not to go the distance. I mean, is there anyone listening to this that thinks Chaos goes 15 minutes or Michel goes 15 minutes? Personally, for me, I don't think so. Co-main event, homies, we have Jose Aldo taking on Marlon Vera, and we're going to start with the Brazilian. So Aldo comes into this fight with a veteran's record, a legend's record, the former 145 king, the king of Rio de Janeiro. How can anyone dislike Aldo? If you dislike Aldo, I really question you, man. Aldo is coming off a loss to the champion Peter Yan. The stoppage should have came way earlier in that fight. Like, way earlier. We do have to speak about the work Aldo did in that fight. Early in that fight, he was able to implement that low kick that he's famous for. He had Peter Yan switching stances halfway through that fight, but ultimately didn't have enough to get past Peter Yan. The opponent, Marlon Vera, comes into this fight 10 wins, 5 losses inside the UFC. Primarily a dog. This man is a dog. I remember watching Vera fight live in London like 4 years ago against Brad Pickett. To see where Vera is now compared to where he was back then, you can only be impressed. You can only be inspired. There's absolutely no quit in Marlon Vera. Tough as nails. Type of dude that eats metal for breakfast. In my mind, he's on a 7-fight winning streak because he definitely didn't lose to Song Yadong. And that's coming from someone who picked Song Yadong. My prediction for this fight is going to be Marlon Vera wins. Could I be wrong? I could be. Absolutely, I could be wrong. After all, it's Jose Aldo, a fighter that can beat any man on his day. But I feel like his day is over. Marlon Vera is in his prime. He can grapple, he can kickbox with you. He's not going to quit in there. Doesn't matter how tough it gets. Marlon isn't going to get going. If anyone is going to back down in this fight, I think it's Jose Aldo. So purely for those reasons, I'm going to take Marlon Vera via TKO in round number 3. I think it could be a late stoppage. My odds would be Marlon Vera minus 160, Jose Aldo plus 130. And the actual odds, we have Jose Aldo minus 140, minus 150. I like that. I like the respect. You know, he is the former 145 king. He is the king of Rio de Janeiro. He's a man, like I said, that can beat anyone on his day. So to see him the favourite, you can only respect it. You really can. But that is going to be an underdog pick. I'm happy to take Marlon Vera at plus money. Alright, my homies, main event. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Jeff Neal. And we're going to start with Thompson. So Stephen Thompson comes into this fight 10 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw inside the UFC. A kickboxer, a karate style kickboxer. One of the very best at playing human chess. Fighting is a game of human chess with dire consequences. Stephen Thompson is one of the very best at playing that game. He's one of the very best at avoiding your violence. His sideways stance makes him very unpredictable. Will he exit on the left or the right? What kick is coming next? Stephen Thompson really is one of the best kickboxers we've ever seen in the UFC. However, he is getting older. It's been a few years now since that title challenge against Tyron Woodley. He is becoming more hittable. The opponent, Jeff Neal, comes into this fight 5-0 inside the UFC. A super powerful guy, only getting better fight by fight. You look at his current skill set, it's already really high level. The head kick he set down Camacho with, unreal. To match Nico Price in a battle is always impressive. The takedown defense against Bilal Muhammad, the list goes on for Jeff Neal. This man has a bright future in the sport. With a win over Stephen Thompson, it really projects his career even further. Here's the problem with betting on either guy. If you bet on Stephen Thompson, he could literally be winning this fight for 20 minutes and out of nowhere, hands of steel, Jeff Neal gets it done with that one punch. If you bet on Jeff Neal, he could come close with a few punches, but ultimately, the movement and experience of Stephen Thompson could be the result. He was able to teach Jeff Neal that not just power wins the fight, but movement does too. Honestly, guys, it's not a safe fight to bet on, to lay your money on. But if you say to me, hey Lay, gun to your head bro, make the pick, I would pick Stephen Thompson. I would pick Stephen Thompson to use his movement for 25 minutes. Look to make Jeff Neal play that catch-up game, you know? Stick and move, kick and move. So for those reasons, I'm going to take Stephen Thompson via decision. My numbers would be Stephen Thompson minus 140, Jeff Neal plus 110. And like I said, guys, it could be a case of Stephen Thompson looks great, Thompson is winning, and out of nowhere, Anthony Pettis style, you know? Maybe not a Superman punch, ninja style, but a big bomb, Jeff Neal style. And that's why I say it's dangerous to bet on this fight. It really could go either way. For me, I'm not going to be betting it. The last fight of the year, I'm going to sit back and put my feet up. And hopefully, I've made the money before the main event. And the actual numbers, we have Stephen Thompson plus 100, Jeff Neal minus 120. So that will be my 4th underdog on this card. I'm happy with my underdogs, I really am. Should Jeff Neal be the favourite? I don't think so. I don't think he should. I think Jeff Neal should be on the plus 100, plus 110. Stephen Thompson with his experience should probably be where Jeff Neal is. But regardless, because the fight can go either way, that's why these odds are so close. Thompson can be winning right up until he's not. Jeff Neal can be behind, slightly behind. That punch misses, that punch misses. And it's so close. Every punch is really close. And you think, wow, the next one is going to be the one. And before you know it, 25 minutes has gone by. So that's why I say this fight really is a dangerous one to bet on. Regardless, it's going to be a great main event. This is going to be a great card. As always, homies, I've enjoyed breaking down this card. Make sure you enjoy your Christmas. And I'm going to catch you guys in the new year. Alright, homies. Peace.